for boys and girl this week on the TKT podcast, the Two Kill Time podcast, the podcast of all podcasts on all podcast streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Anywhere where you can listen to the podcast, this podcast is going to be podcasting. Travis, we are here this week with my sister, Hillary, a.k.a. Big Hilly, a.k.a. Big Hill, a.k.a. Hill. I can't think of any of your nicknames off the top of my head, a.k.a. Hillary Clinton. Before we get into the full introductories outside of that, Travis, how was your week, buddy?
All right, first of all, before we get in, what episode is this, bro? I'm trying to do
fuck if I know at this point, dude.
Snapchat picture. I'm going to say 44.
Hold on. I'll check Spotify real quick. We got to be getting
awesome.
up there, man. We're
44?
up there. To Kill Time comes right up because we're on every platform, like I said.
Yeah,
this is 44. Yeah, 44.
Wow. All right, cool. That was quick, simple, methodic.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Week was good, man. I don't know. Another week, same shit. Except a small story for you guys that happened to me today.
Fire away.
I was hanging out with Ari, and so me and her went to get Taco Bell. And we're coming back from Taco Bell, and right in Mayfield, so I'm going through, like, kind of by the high school, you guys know, on 2nd Ave.
Okay.
We see this fire truck, and I was like, what the hell's going on? So I go further up the road right to the Mayfield Grill intersection there, and there's a whole parade, like everyone's outside. So this is how the story goes. So I take a left past the grill, and I start to head up that little hill.
Yeah.
Ha, no pun intended. And
Jesus fucking Christ.
So I stop there, and I'm behind a few cars, and the parade just starts, and I see everyone start going by, and I'm like, I'm not going to wait for this.
Get right in it.
Oh, no.
So I back up, and I go back down the hill, and I go around the block. Now I'm behind it. It's a small parade, but I'm behind it. I'm the last car, so what do? Join in. I freaking joined in the parade I have no business being a part of, and everyone was waving to me, dude. I rolled my window down, I was waving. Sitting there, I don't even know what I was there for.
I was there.
Yeah, I was going to say, Slate's just put in chat that it was the senior parade for the graduates this year.
Oh, yeah, dude, I sure did.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And then Ari was like, really, Travis? Like, I'm trying to go home, or, like, she's trying to come here and eat the food, like, she's hungry. And I was like, yeah, but, like, this is dope, right?
This is way cooler than that. How many parades have you been in, bro?
So I came home, I was like, Mom, I was in a parade, that's all that matters, like.
Nice,
that's all.
It's all downhill from here for the rest of the year, so.
Yeah, that was the highlight.
Unless somehow I get into another parade.
Other than that, bro, yeah, just a simple week.
Good shit, buddy. That's what I like to hear. Hilly, go ahead and introduce yourself to the crowd, to the viewers, and let everybody know who you are, what you're doing, and a little snippet about yourself. Go ahead.
I'm Kane's oldest sister. I don't really have much to say about myself.
All right, guys, and that's the podcast. Thanks for listening, and
bounce back next week.
Yeah. Other than that, just been doing house renovations.
Nice. How old are you? Tell us,
I will be 31 in July.
Fucking old as shit.
Yep. Still old.
You are old.
Yep.
Rip.
No, I'm not.
You're 30.
Yeah. Thanks.
No problem.
Sibling love right there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So, anything special you want to get into before we dive into these deep questions that I posed for you this week?
No, I think we should just dive right in, I guess.
Perfect. Let me ask you this. What was life like growing up with two younger siblings, let alone being the oldest? What was your childhood like, your adolescent years, your early 20s with me and Shauna hanging around?
Childhood was great. Being the oldest sister, not gonna lie, sucks. You always feel like you're responsible for them, no matter what they're doing, how old they are, where they are, who they're with.
For sure.
Um,
It
other than what?
couldn't have been that bad. I mean,
No, not
I
really.
never caused you any trouble.
Well,
No.
your late night bowling
Yeah,
extravaganzas.
but at least you knew where I was.
Well, sometimes.
General vicinity.
Unless you took a walk somewhere.
Yeah, well, you knew where you dropped me off and you picked me up at the same spot, and that's all that mattered.
All right, yeah.
As long as the pickup occurred, then you're good.
Yeah, the drop off and the pickup were the same location, so
That's true.
I don't know what you mean by I went anywhere other than where you dropped me off.
All right, okay. Yep, top secret.
Shauna said she's right here. Talk about her nicely. That I'd rather say it while you're here. In fact,
exactly. Shauna was a treat growing up. We'll leave it at that. Sharing a room with her for most of my childhood was nothing but a living hell.
Fucking violated.
So was living hell the treat, or the treat was something different?
What part was that again?
Was the treat.
Oh.
Well,
she
nice.
she was very stressful. She stresses me out still to this day. Like I said, older sister, constantly, worried, stressed.
Yeah,
and it's never gonna change, no matter where she is or who she's with or what she's doing.
Yeah, that just kind of, like you said, comes with that aspect of it. I mean, me being the youngest sibling, I mean, obviously, I try to do what I can for you guys, and I stress out when you guys have some stuff going on, but
Yep.
I can definitely see, because, I mean, even Travis being the youngest, for him, too, like, I mean, there was things that, I don't want to say, like, we got away with, because I feel like I didn't go out of my way to get away with shit when I was a kid, you know what I mean?
Right.
But...
Yep.
Like, your life was drastically different growing up than mine, not just because of the time. Like, I mean, you were born in 92, so you experienced the later half of the 90s, whereas I was born in 97. My earliest recollection is, like, 2001, you know what I mean?
Right.
As non-significant things go, So, what you did growing up and what you were able to do in the 90s was very different than what I was able to do and what I was exposed to and what Travis was exposed to growing up, and even Haley and Shauna.
Right.
But
yeah, being only 4 years apart, you wouldn't think there would be a difference, but there is. Not even really like with how our parents raised us, but
yeah,
just the way of the world.
And we've talked about that on the podcast before, me, Travis, and TJ, about like we were really the last generation, like me, Travis, and Shauna, the last generation really grow up without those type of things. You know what I mean? Because anybody born after 2000, from the time they can remember, like there's been internet in their life or certain things, like me, Travis, Haley, and Shauna, and TJ, growing up was very different because we were transitioned into those things, and so were you. But you had a lot more time. And I know it's not just like the internet, but like you said, like the way of the world is drastically different from 1992 to being born in 1997 or 96 or 98, 99 because of like different things. Like Jake, Haley's cousin, born in 2006, Haley's sister born in 2006 is fucking insane. The fact that their earliest memories are having like an iPad and doing shit. And they're very much like, I was graduating 6th grade in 2010 and they were 4. Not that that's a drastic age difference when you really think about it in terms of, oh, well, if I was in 6th grade, they were going into pre-K type thing. But the fact that you were born in 92 and I was born in 97, and outside of me being my parents' third child and you not, we lived very different lives growing up because of the world around us. It had nothing to do with our parents or anything like that. And that's why I want to ask, outside of how it was being an older sibling because of the age gap. Because like Tommy and Haley are 4 or 5 years. Tommy and Emily are fucking a decade. You know what I mean? Like he's 26. He's Shauna's age, and she just turned 16. You know, well, turning 17, but
Same.
it's fucking wild. It's fucking insane. To kind of go with that subject, tell us a little bit about our family life growing up, how things have changed so much, and just different shit with that. Like, give a little bit outside perspective, outside of like me, who talks about our family all the time, what it was like for you with our family, not necessarily just mom and dad, but everybody, grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever.
Right. Obviously our family was very close at one point. I can remember since way back when I was little, Saturday nights were such a huge thing at mom and dad's, no matter
like
where we were. Like I remember it when we lived on North Street in the apartment before we even moved to Mayfield. And it was everybody, like...
Yeah, and it wasn't just like, hey, this Saturday. It was every Saturday and every Friday we would go to Nana and Pa's, which...
for pizza night.
I never think about that until, like, we all start talking about it, but, like, those were the fucking best, man. Going to Fritz's Pizza to pick up the fucking pizza with Mike, and, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
And... yeah, so just being very close, I feel like it
How long ago was that? Like in your childhood?
Yeah,
right till, oh my God.
I mean, the Friday night thing stopped before the Saturday night thing, but that was probably up until the point I was like 10, 12. You know what I mean? In that area, and then the Saturday thing, that was up until the point till Grandpa died, like till Dave died. Which, what was 2014, so I would have been 15 or so. Right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think how old
I would have been like 16 or 17, yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, it was every Saturday. Granted, like in the later years of the whole Saturday thing, it was less and less people as, like... Right,
it just eventually became just our grandparents.
Yeah, but it was... everyone, all the time, every Saturday, every holiday, our house was loaded with people. Like, and I don't just mean like, hey, it's 5, 6 people. I mean like 10 to 20 people. Holiday, especially New Year's Eve and like Christmas and shit, was 30, 35 people just chilling. Granted, all family, but that's why I want to ask, because again, we, as close as I know our family is. Like, we used to be way closer, I think, in terms of, like, the whole family and how things went and who used to came and hang out.
Yeah. That's what I was going to get into, too, was holidays. Holidays was always a big thing at Mom and Dad's.
Yeah.
We never really went anywhere for any holiday.
Yeah, and that's actually something I struggle with now when I'm an adult, because I don't want to go anywhere. I want to host it here.
I'm the same way, and, like, I'm getting to be that way, too, like... driving, everywhere on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Like, it's just, I'm glad we didn't have to as kids. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah,
so, like, now, since I moved here, every holiday Beth and Elvis want us to go out there, which we love seeing them. We love going out there. But, like, it's an hour and 15-minute drive, an hour drive every single time. Yeah. So me growing up, never having to go anywhere, and even when me and Haley started going together really seriously, we were going our house and then one to her dad's and then one to her mom's all on the same day. Frustrated me, but it was like, man, I understand why they don't get along. I understand why we're doing it. But like now we go to Beth and Elvis's. Anthony has his own house, so he wants to host shit at his house. And it's just like, it's running around all day. And I don't fuck with that. Like, that's not what a holiday is for. I don't like that.
Right. You can't enjoy it.
Yeah, and
like that's my biggest thing. You enjoy it when you're in the moment, but after that or before that, you're just
like when I leave, I'm like, oh, now I have an hour drive home, yay! Like, or now I have a 30-minute drive home. I just don't fuck with that, and it's different if it's just like, again, at our house, the family that used to come over was just like, hey, they're coming over, like that's where everyone's going. Right, like, they're not going here and then coming here and then going there. So it was a little bit different. We were all pretty relatively local to where it wasn't that big of a deal for everybody to come over. And now it's like, okay, well, we're going to eat dinner here and then we'll come over for dessert or like vice versa. And same thing with us. So we go over to Beth and Elvis's on Memorial Day and then we go over to Anthony's house for Memorial Day dinner. So it's a lot, like you said, a hustle and bustle. And I'm glad that we didn't have to do that growing up. And I don't want to do that like to my kids when me and Haley have kids, when we do, or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to do that. I'd rather have everybody just come to my house. And obviously, like you said, you have the same point of view. You want everybody to come over to your house. Well, fuck you. They're going to come to my house, Hill.
Right.
So just airing it out now.
Oh, fuck you.
Like, if we got to split it up, we got to split it up. But, like, I get Christmas because of lasagna, and you guys can have Thanksgiving.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, buddy.
I also get Memorial Day and July 4th. Calling dibs now. Because,
Easter.
The barbecue and whatnot. I mean.
Travis has Easter.
It makes sense. Yeah, Travis's is Easter. Moving on from that, tell us a couple things that you've kind of struggled with, again, sticking with childhood and family. Something that you struggled with through your childhood, teenage years, or just in general, just something that you've had to show adversity through, like just with whatever. It doesn't matter. Just give the listeners and viewers a little bit more into yourself. A little bit more personal view.
I guess I could say my biggest struggle would be being overweight. I was a big child. I've always have been big. And obviously everybody knows the daily struggles with that. I mean, you're always the fat kid, no matter where you are or what you're doing. But you have to make it a positive situation.
Yeah.
And I always told myself, like, I was made this way, so obviously it's how I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I really remember anything like in elementary school about it. More or less just the high school, which is just petty,
Yeah,
little
the
things.
same bullshit.
Also going into that, like, I was a teenager when I found out I had diabetes.
Yep.
Which, as anybody can imagine, no matter what age you are, you don't want to hear that. But when you're 13 and you hear that and you have to make lifestyle changes, it's hard. And you watch your siblings and your family be able to eat or do whatever they want, and you can't.
Yeah.
And, you can't think negatively about it. It's just what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Everybody struggles with something. And you just work your way through it on your own. And yes, you may have support, but I feel like my biggest support was always myself. Obviously, mom and dad were always very supportive through anything any of us kids did. But you have to be able to support yourself through situations before you can accept support from anybody else.
That's some good advice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, nice little quote.
Other than that, I don't feel like I struggled with anything else other than always feeling responsible for my siblings because I was the oldest. But I think that was just my mindset.
Yeah.
That I always had to make sure that you guys were okay and safe and
Yeah, I feel like that's every older sibling too. I mean, you see it in movies and shit. Like, it's just
right. I mean, I feel like every sibling has their role of some sort.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the oldest is just so. I don't know. Like, I feel you have so many responsibilities.
Yeah, and it's not like just
And
oldest
I don't
either.
know
Like,
why.
like we said, like it was years. It
Yeah,
wasn't just like, hey, I'm fucking 12 months older than you 1 year. Like talking half a decade.
Right. Yeah.
Like I was fucking 10 and you were damn near an adult.
Right.
Which is fucking
And that's
insane.
the thing too. Like, I mean, I always looked up to you as my younger sibling. Like, there was never a time where I was like, well, I'm the oldest, so
Yeah.
you're the youngest, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
But
It's obviously beyond that. It's beyond like, hey, I look up to you or whoever. Like, I mean,
right.
It's just having the attitude and the mindset of, I mean, that's
Yeah.
still my little brother. Like, that's still my little sister.
Right.
To make the right decision. And I'm sure Travis and his sister had a very similar relationship where she was maybe overprotective and things like that, and he was like, "Hey, like,
Oh
just
my
let
god.
me fucking
Yeah.
do me," you
Yeah.
know? Like
He
that's
was.
one thing I will say is like I feel like you trusted me a lot. Like, I don't want to say you didn't
Mhm.
stress when like it was me and Brian or whoever like going out to do shit. Like, yeah, you're like you were worried, but you never questioned it. You knew we were gonna be good, and you knew we weren't fucking
Right.
stupid. We weren't gonna make a dumbass mistake and do just be an idiot.
Yep.
Which,
Just be a
granted, like we
jackass.
were fucking jackasses, but we knew where the line was, and we knew when we could cross it and when we couldn't cross it. Like we
Right.
knew the decision making process and that, and that's kind of where the line is. Like, same thing with Travis and his sister is like knowing where he could cross the line to
Right.
to go off of her trust. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Glad that you
Um.
brought her up because I wanted to mention like
Yeah.
Hillary and Chelsea are kind of the reason like we met. So I mean, they are the
Yep.
reason we met at such a young age. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I think we've talked about how we kind of rekindled our friendship too on here, but I
yeah,
can't remember what. Like, we obviously were friends growing up, and then we stopped talking for a long time for whatever reason. I don't know if it
yeah.
was because Hill and your sister stopped hanging out, but then Nick Lamphere like kind of rekindled our friendship, and we've been best friends ever since.
Yeah, it started over
Finally,
2K. What a fucking shit show.
literally, literally. Speaking of diabetes as well, Matt was on the podcast last week. He struggles with certain health issues as well, including diabetes. How was it like for you having to live with that? You mentioned having to adjust and your lifestyle changes and things. And I mean, I don't know much about diabetes myself. I mean, I know
Mhm.
plenty of people that have type 1 and type 2, but I don't know too much about it. Thankfully, like I've always been fatter and haven't been diagnosed with type 1 or type 2. I think is type 1 is from birth, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So type 2 is something that's developed or
Type 2, you can develop it, but you can also get rid of it and control it.
See, that was going to
oh,
be my follow-up was like, can you get rid of it? But
Yeah.
how was it like for you in your childhood and teenage years to grow up with that and through your adult life? What are some lifestyle changes you've made since, like in the later half of your life so far, and everything with your diabetes? I feel like that was a long question. I'm sorry.
I feel like I haven't really like changed my lifestyle habits, obviously.
Yeah.
But I feel as an adult, um, you're you're able to control it a little bit more. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm trying to think how to explain this. Like, obviously, as a kid, like you couldn't go buy your own groceries. You couldn't,
Yeah. So you just did your own
do
thing.
your own type of thing. Like, whatever there was what there was. I feel like there's more medicine and more help with weight loss nowadays than there was back then.
Yeah.
god, yeah.
Which I started a new medicine to help with weight loss, but then the insurance was a mess.
How it usually fucking goes.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, as always with fucking everything.
yeah. So the insurance wouldn't cover it, so I've been off it for a while, but I actually just again was able to get it, and I'm gonna start it this week. So we'll see how that goes. The last time when I started it, I was very sick. It just makes you have no appetite, no
Yeah.
desire to do anything, which again isn't good for you either.
Yeah.
Right.
My old boss, I don't know, I don't think he has diabetes. At least if he did, I wasn't aware. but he is a heavier set guy, and he's always he's always trying to find ways to lose weight and be active and be healthier than he is, and so props to him for that. I mean, and that was one of the things he tried was like this medicine, and I can't remember. I want to say it was a shot that he had to get like once a week, or like he had to do to himself like once a day, and like it worked, but it made him sick as fuck. Like and he just either always had the shits or whatever, or it was making him piss all the time, and he just couldn't do it. Like, I don't know, and that's really where me and Haley are at too. Is we haven't been to the gym in a while, and we haven't really been eating as well as we should. But I've kind of like stayed here, and I mean I've lost a little bit more weight, but not where I want to be. But it's just finding different avenues is so hard, even though there's so many, because you don't know what to trust. You don't know what's going to work for you because your situation's different than everybody else's.
Right, and like, there is like the keto diet, and everybody says, oh, that's great. Well, yes, it's great, but like, once you're off of it,
you just put it all back on.
That's it.
And that's why they say, like, my buddy Mike does it, and he does keto for like 3 to 4 weeks straight, and then I'll do 3 to 4 weeks off to like tone and put on muscle mass, and then he does 3 to 6 weeks or 3 to 4 weeks, loses a little bit more of the fat that he had already put on, tones out a little bit, and then gains muscle mass again. And like he's kind of got it down to a science where he's lost a good amount of weight doing keto, but he has to do it like, hey, I'm doing it this, and then I'm doing it this, and then I'm doing it this, and like it's a whole fucking thing. And I don't know if I could like really commit to all that. Like I just want to eat when I want to eat. Yeah, like
right. You just want to open the fridge and get whatever you want, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't want to Sunday meal prep for the rest of the week and eat the same.
And
a lot of those people eat the same thing every single day.
Yeah, fuck that shit. I hate meal prepping so much.
That's something I've been going through, man. Actually, like the past.
Like
I don't
mind eating chicken every day, but it's like chicken, rice, and broccoli every day for like 5 days. Like no, like give me chicken, rice, and broccoli, and then give me like chicken, pasta, salad, and green beans. Like give me something different, Like just give me a little bit of variety, and I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Following kind of all that, we've obviously dove into a little bit of the family stuff and growing up. We had a lot of good times and a lot of rough times growing up. What's one of the things that you think has kept like me, you, and Shauna at least in contact over the years? I mean, a lot of siblings don't talk. Like a lot of shit happens throughout growing up with each other, constantly around. So what do you think is one thing that has really kept me, you, and Shauna, and even like the rest of the family kind of as close as we still are, even though we've distanced a lot?
I feel like I would say like our communication. Like, yes, like, I mean, I don't talk to you every day. I don't talk to Shauna every day. But I know you guys are there when I need you. And I think that's what keeps it together is I can pick up the phone when I need to vent or when I need something, and I can call you.
Yeah.
Same with Shauna. And I feel like, I don't know, like, I feel my relationship with mom and dad is very different from your relationship with mom and dad and Shauna's relationship with mom and dad.
For sure.
And, I mean, obviously that could be typical, but, like, as siblings, you would think there would be somewhat of similarities, and I don't think there is.
Yeah, I think all three of us are completely different people. Like,
I do too.
If there was the fucking north, south, and west pole, like we're all three of them.
Yes.
East, I thought you said west.
And like everybody I talk to, like my closest friends and stuff like that, they say the same thing. Like you and your siblings are opposite.
Yeah, like, and it's weird because, I mean, there's obviously some middle ground. I think, like, obviously we all relate to each other. We're siblings, but I mean, personalities, interests, everything. There's three of us. You know what I mean? You think two of us would really align, and I think that's in part because like I like to think I have my head in as many hats and hands in as many bowls as I can. So like I relate to you in a lot of ways. I relate to Shauna in a lot of ways, but like hand in hand, all three of us are completely different. Like Shauna's personality and likes are completely different than mine, and the same with yours. And yes, that can go for everybody, but I agree. I feel like we're just totally different people, and that's one of the things that has really kept us all as close because it's honestly like, what the fuck is this kid doing now? Like, what is Shauna doing now? What is Hill doing now? Jesus Christ, like, whatever it is. I mean, it just keeps us all interested in each other's lives, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, there's always something different every day. You know, new news every day, old news every day. It just doesn't matter what it is.
Travis, what do you think is one thing that has really kept you and Chelsea close over the years?
Same kind of thing, man. I mean, we're just different. So a lot of the times, like, especially when I was up at school, Chelsea would be like, "How are you doing? I miss you. I hope no one's messing with you." And it's like, all right, Chelsea, like,
Yeah, like, shut the fuck up.
I'm 19, I'm 20, like,
It's college. If I'm getting
can handle
bullied,
my
I
own.
probably deserve it.
yeah, like, yeah. Just staying interested in what each other are doing.
Going off of friendships and stuff, because you brought up like your friendships and obviously with siblings and stuff, you saw Travis grow up for a long time. I mean, you've known him since he was a kid, and even TJ, like you've seen grow up for a decent amount.
Pretty much since like I was a baby, damn near, right?
Yeah, because me and Chelsea were friends in second grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were an infant.
Yeah. You were little.
How old are you in second grade? Because she's your
like
age, right?
6 or
31?
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 8 in second grade.
Yes, and we're 7 years apart, so.
Yeah, so you were literally an infant. But like so again, you've known TJ for a while too. You've known Travis most of his life, if not all of his life. From an outside point of view, what is your outside view of like all three of our friendship? Hard question, I know. Weird question, but it's leading into something else, I promise.
It's not weird. I would say it kind of reminds me a lot of like me and Caitlin. Like, you guys aren't hanging out every day. You're not, you know, talking every day. But if you picked up the phone and sent a text, like, you'd all be there.
Exactly.
And to me, that's what matters most about a friendship.
So that was going to be my follow-up question was, obviously we've all had really close friends in our lives, and who would you say is that friend that you have outside? So like for me, Travis and TJ, we can pretty much rely on each other regardless of how we feel about each other in the moment or what's going on. If we're arguing, doesn't matter, like we're going to be there for each other. Who would you say is the closest thing as a trio you have to that friendship, like our friend group?
I mean, I wouldn't say I had a trio, but I would, like I said, me and Caitlin. We could go like 2 weeks without talking, and she could text me, and we're right back where we started. We could go 2 weeks talking every single day and then not hear from each other. But, like, I just know that if I needed to vent about something, like, I could text or call her, and she would be there. Yes, I have very close friends that I see all the time. Heather lives with me. I see Anita just about every weekend. And I'm thankful for their friendships, obviously. But just to have that friend that isn't a constant in your life that, you know, you could share different experiences with, or
like you're out doing your own thing, they're out doing their own thing. You see them once, twice a year, and then you catch up, and it makes that rekindling like that much better. Because like, even though we're on this podcast every week, like very rarely are we talking about like the little shit that happens and like all that type of stuff. Like there's so many other small moving parts that, especially when we have a guest on, like we don't talk about. So the last week and this week, we didn't like chat about different things. You know what I mean? We're focused on our guests, and same thing next week, and so on and so forth. And I think you're right. Like me and Brian, doesn't matter how much we talk. Like he could hit me up once a month, whatever it is, and we're still going to be just as close as we ever were. And
Mhm.
it's really in part because of like the stuff you go through as friends and whatnot. And like you said, like you live with Heather, you see Nita all the time. You don't always see Caitlin, and it makes that like rekindling of the friendship when you guys actually do get together just that much better, I think.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
Um,
you brought up Anita, and I just had to say this. When I was real young and I lived in the other trailer, Anita used to come over
Yep.
and hang out with Chelsea. I used to
Yep.
look at Anita and I was like, I want to be as tall as her one day. Because I was just
Mhm.
a small, short kid, dude. Like, that was my goal
Yep.
in life, was to be taller than Anita
that's
Yeah.
funny as fuck.
all the time.
Again, talking about like distance and whatnot, since I moved away and even went to college, I think like I talked to you, mom, dad, and Shauna more than I did when we were home.
Mhm.
Obviously, like when we lived together or whatnot, it's a different story. But when you moved out, Shauna like was doing her own thing and whatever. I would say we've all talked more. If anything, I would say it's strengthened our relationships more since
Yeah.
I moved away, especially like mine and yours, and even like mine and Shauna's, mine, mom and dad's.
Yep.
Because when we talk, to me, it's that much more meaningful. Even if it's just a hey, I'm fucking bored at work, or hey, what are you doing? Like it feels more meaningful because who knows, you know?
Right. I agree. I feel like our relationship has gotten stronger only because, like, it just goes back to new things. Like, we're not with each other every day. We don't know what's going on in each other's life.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's almost, I don't want to say like, yeah, I guess like I look forward to your phone call once a week,
Yeah.
just to catch up or just to bullshit or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like kind of with me and Shauna, we've gotten a little bit closer. As you know, we weren't the closest growing up. Um, but like, I don't know. And it's just weird how that happens.
Yeah. And I think I mean that obviously comes too with growing up, and you learn how to be an adult in certain ways, and they learn how to
Yeah.
be an adult in certain ways. And I mean, we've had
Yeah.
our bouts. Me and Shauna have our bouts. Like I'm the type of person that doesn't care. Like I get over it, and move on, and I don't. I'm very bad at holding grudges. Excuse me. Um,
Oh, do it.
Dude, I was holding that in for so long. I had a yawn so bad, and I just like kept pausing to be like, "All right, swallow the yawn." Um, Apologize to the listeners. It's fucking 9 o'clock at night, 10 Eastern. It's been a very chaotic day. I apologize for the yawn, but I agree. I think that comes down to just again. I look forward to that phone call. Just talking to you or talking to Shauna, or just
Yep.
calling Dad at work just to bust his ass. And then
Yep.
same thing with Mom, just calling her and be like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm at work." Well, it doesn't sound like you're at work. You're talking to your son on the phone, and like that type of shit. Um, Going into different things. I know we've really just talked about our childhood a lot, and I apologize. That's really just all the questions that I had for tonight was like that type of stuff.
That's okay.
But what's one of the things that you would change about anything that you've ever done? Like, what is one thing that you were like, why did I fucking do that? It doesn't have to be a big thing, could be a small thing, like anything.
Uh, I would say there's quite a few things, but um, I feel like going to college fresh out of high school was the biggest mistake of my
Why?
life. I didn't go for anything. I just did my general studies at FM,
Yeah.
which, okay, um, it did allow me to, be a head teacher at the daycares, which was good. But I wish I would have waited to actually figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Not that I still know what I want to do. Um,
Shit
but I
changes. You
feel like,
grow, you adapt, you get different interests.
yeah.
Like
Right now,
me,
I,
I'm
I
fucking
have
making
a
barbecue
goal,
sauce.
and I'm trying to get to that goal, and we'll see what happens. Um, But yeah, I would say that would be my number
I
one
like how you
thing
didn't
was-
tell us what your next move was. You know, you can't ever let the ops know.
That's right.
I think like the only thing that I wish I ever like changed was I took baseball a little bit more seriously. Like, and obviously I took it serious in high school, but I never like did that. Never wasn't training in the off season, didn't do anything like that. And then I got to college, and I mean, I was told that I was too fat to be on the team. I was too slow, but was also told like I was the most improved in the tryouts and blah blah blah. That he had hope if I came back next year. I do wish that I did that and actually just instead of just being like, you know what, fucking, I'm not gonna do anything with it. Like it's D3 baseball, I'm never gonna make it. I'm too short, like that type of shit. I wish I had a different mindset about it then, because even just playing those extra 4 years would have been, or 3 years, 2 years, whatever it may be, would have been special. But that's probably the only thing that I would probably change from shit that I've done, to be honest. I mean, obviously, like, there's little shit that I would change, but in terms of serious stuff, that's one thing.
Yep.
What about you, Travi?
My biggest, I don't know, man. Probably not playing basketball senior year. Like opting to not do it, and I mean, three of us kind of like, with me being overweight as well. If I went and tried out for the team at Canton, I would have been told the same thing. That's why I never did.
Yeah.
So I regret that because
And, like,
obviously with anything you need confidence. I have confidence that I could have been a lot better than what I am, and
yeah, and I do look at that as well because you think about it. I mean, our teams weren't the best. They were D3 teams, and, like, you don't. When I didn't make the team, it was like, damn, like, am I really not fucking better than these kids, you know? And I had
Right.
friends on the team, you know what I mean? This isn't like a bash on them or like a jealous statement or anything, but it was like, that's what's holding me back. Like, you see I can hit, you see I can pitch, you see I can field the ball, and you're not going to give me an opportunity because I'm fat. It's like, all right, I don't want to fucking play for that guy, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
being fat has never stopped me before. Like,
Right.
yeah, it stops me from getting into tight spaces, but like,
That's
it's
about
never
it.
stopped me on the baseball field.
right. No, I know, man. Like as much ball as I used to play up there, I'd play with people on the team all the time, and it's like I don't want to sound like that guy, but I was
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean. Like, I don't want
I
to sit
can-
here and say I am the best player that has ever walked the earth or the best player that played on that team if I made it. Because, like, there were kids that were better than me, and I'll openly
Right.
admit that. There were kids that were better than me on the Mayfield team. It didn't matter, but
there were people who were not.
yeah, for sure. Speaking of me being fat, growing up, I mean, we weren't poor by any means, but we had what I like to call poor meals.
Yep.
And that is not a bad thing. It is not a bad
No.
name.
No.
But I want to ask what y'all's favorite poor meal was. Like something, dude, and there are good ones.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just want to ask you guys, what was your favorite poor meal growing up that you guys had?
You gotta give me a second to think about that.
I know mine.
Okay, what's yours?
I would say mine was hamburger and beans.
See, that's what I was thinking, and I thought you were going to say shit on a shingle because I don't
No,
know.
because we didn't have that a lot.
No, we never had it. But like
Dad didn't like it.
no, but hamburger and beans, banging. I've begged Haley since we came down here, like moved to Nashville, and she won't make it.
I have not made it in a very long time.
Make hamburger helper, bro. Like that. I don't want to say it's a poor meal, but it's pretty poor. Like it's $1.50 or whatever it is a box.
It's
You buy a pound of hamburger.
disgusting.
Fuck you. It's
Disgusting.
not hamburger helper. It's delicious. The
You're gross.
double
my
cheeseburger
favorite.
mac is fire, and every time we get it, like there's a box in the cupboard. We haven't made it in a while, but every time Haley's made it, fucks it up because it's so simple that she forgets she's making it.
Yeah.
Like she's the type of
Just
person that
make
like just
your
makes
own.
it. Well, she does, and it's fucking delicious. But sometimes you just gotta have
just
that little
want
white
that
glove,
hamburger
man.
help.
You just
Yeah,
gotta have that
yeah.
white glove on the box.
You know
And-
another one too is that sloppy Joe mac and cheese mom used to
fire,
make.
dude.
Disgusting.
Fire. No, it's
Disgusting.
not. What do you mean? It's delicious.
Disgusting.
Also,
We ate it
another
so
dish.
fucking much because it was
Another
so
dish.
good.
Another dish. Haley fucks up every time because it's so easy. Like
Oh my God.
we'll burn the fucking hamburger or some shit. Like just super simple, but she could make this fucking 5-course meal and it'd be flawless. Box brownies botches it every time.
I made homemade brownies one time, homemade, and they tasted like those Little Debbie's cosmic brownies.
That's fire. Bro,
I
we
was
sell
like-
them in our vending machine, and I always go to get them, but I don't. And then somebody else will buy one, and I'll be like, hey, can I get a piece? And I'll eat the piece, and I'll be like, man, these are like $1.75. These are ass. Like, they're
Cosmic
good.
brownies?
Yeah, like out of the vending machine.
Nah,
It's like
dude,
it's like
see,
the
I
big
think
ones. They're
they're
like
worth
this.
it.
No, man, not $1.70.
Oh.
The other things you can get for $1.75 out of the vending machine, honey buns.
Yeah.
Honey buns are so good.
Cosmic
like,
brownies are better.
I would say my top 2 favorite poor foods were either hamburger and beans or sloppy Joe mac and cheese, because they were just banging, man. Like, you can't go wrong with hamburger and beans. That
No,
shit's
you
an
can't.
all-time classic.
Yep.
That shit slaps any day. I would eat that on a holiday. Wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? If there was
I
a
wouldn't
giant
go that far.
giant lasagna pan of fucking hamburger and beans, I am in.
Oh my
Ladle
God.
that shit out. Fucking, oh man,
Swap it.
gets me fucking going.
You do like an exaggerated, like,
Yeah, fucking,
like,
fucking delicious, dude. I love that shit.
you have the plate like on the edge, so when you slam it down, it just actually like flips it.
fucking just all over the floor. The last serious question that I kind of have for all of us, we've obviously all lost pretty significant people in our lives. I mean, me and you losing Nana relatively recently, and Grandpa Dave and Travis with his father, and we're fortunate enough to all have been very close with those people. How has losing that person changed your view on life, relationships, whatever? Because, like, for me, like, I wasn't able to go there when Nana passed away and like the different things that happened.
Right.
So like for me, it's really changed. Like, wow, like I fucking hate the car business, and I was only in the car business at that time for a couple months, and it's just not something that I want to do for the rest of my life. Do I want to climb the
Right.
ladder? Sure, but like that's an opportunity that I couldn't have flown back home. Didn't have a choice. Like,
Yep.
would my boss have allowed it? Yeah, but I would have been screwed. Like, I wouldn't have been able to pay my rent that month. You know what I mean? Like, different shit like that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate in that aspect, but that's how it's kind of changed my view on my life and different things. As for relationships, I think it really, as much as it's separated our family, it's real to me. It's strengthened us, like as a family, like me, you, Shauna, mom, dad, grandma, Aunt Michelle. Like, it's brought us way closer together than before, in my opinion. Granted, like it's tainted some aunt and uncle relationships, which is bullshit. We all need to grow up, but that's besides the point. And that's not just me pointing the fucking finger. We all need to grow the fuck up with that shit. That is the second time I've said this on this podcast. If any of them listen to it, then fucking grow up.
I hope they do.
I don't think anybody does, but it's besides the point.
No. Yep.
It I don't know. It bugs the fuck out of me. I'm not gonna get into all that shit. It just irritates the shit out of me that the fucking youngest person in the family has to be like, "Are you guys fucking serious?" And you still don't care. But that's fine. Anyways, what is one thing that you think has, or how did that change your view on life and relationships and blah blah blah?
Losing Nana was very hard for me.
Yeah.
As you know. I don't feel like I was able to think about her passing away. As you know, I was given the house.
Yeah.
Had to clean it out.
Yeah, you had a very
Obviously-
different type of processing of it.
Yeah, obviously, I had help with cleaning the house out. It's not something I did by myself,
Yeah.
but just having to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like it changed my mindset in a lot of ways as far as realizing who family is and the definition of family. Makes me sick to my stomach, but karma's a bitch and she'll get them one day. And that's what I have to say to that.
This is going to be completely off the topic of what I just asked, but you just reminded me of a fucking quote that I heard the other day. You said karma's a bitch. Well, that's too bad because you don't get any.
Oh my God.
You don't get any bitches? Oh my God, bro. Ah, fuck. That was hilarious.
That's a line.
Yeah, that's a bar. Sorry. Yeah, and I agree. Like, growing up, to me, family's family. Like, as much as I don't want people to shit on me and blah, 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 and I won't shit on you, and blood is blood, and fucking all that other shit. Like,
right.
It's...
and that...
Go ahead.
That's how it was, though. Family was your blood, and that was it.
Yeah.
But it's not.
And see, like, again, growing up, like, family's family. Family always comes first. But, I mean, I learned at a young age that I think, really, it was at the start of, like, mine and Brian's relationship or friendship, that I realized, like, yeah, family's family, but you can pick your fucking family, man.
Yep.
Like, as much as I love everybody that's in our direct family, blood related, and I would do anything for them regardless. Like, there's shit that they've done, and I've done shit that I'm sure they're unhappy about, but no one's made it clear to me. Like,
right.
Like I said, I don't hold grudges. We all grow up, we all move on, we do things that we're not proud of. So you're still my family. I still love you. It's never going to change, never will. Like, but, like, I get to pick my family. Like, it...
Right.
When I decide, like, hey, that's it. Like, that's it. And I don't think I ever... Not saying I ever will. My family typically just grows. You know what I mean? Like, I have my family down here. I have my family up there. It's that simple. And I want to take people from here and bring them there so they can see what life is like up there and meet my family up there, because, like, they are that close to me. They're the people that I have in my life down here. Yep.
For me too, losing Nana taught me a lot about myself.
Yeah.
In some ways, people probably think it's bad, but to me, I needed to start living for myself and not for everybody else.
Yeah.
And it sucks it took that happening for me to realize, but it is what it is, and obviously I'm getting there.
Yeah. Good.
And that's all that matters.
You're right. Thanks. That is all that matters.
Damn right.
Speaking of relationships and stuff, obviously you have had a rocky road, some would say, in relationships and whatnot. Do you have any dating, marriage advice for anyone, and how you were able to navigate different landscapes throughout your career of dating?
Your career.
Of dating. I really don't have any advice. Your relationship is your relationship and what you make of it. The only thing I would tell anybody would be to not to settle, and again, you have to make sure you're happy before you can be happy in a relationship.
Yeah, you got to make yourself happy before you can make anybody else happy. That's a huge thing.
Yep. Yeah, other than that, I don't really...
All right, well, I didn't know if you were going to give, like, a huge answer or not. I just want to throw that out there,
I mean, I could go more into depth, but...
You don't have to, yeah. No, I'm not. That's not what I'm asking. So these are the last three questions. One's pretty simple. What is your favorite memory of me and you, or me, you, and Shauna together? You've had a lot of time to think about this now. I previewed the questions with you like an hour ago.
No, yeah, like 2 minutes before we went live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
Sorry, I came up with them like 5 minutes before we went live here, so.
I would say probably like just always, after school, getting homework done and going straight outside.
Yeah.
We
Getting
always
the
had
whole
kickball
neighborhood.
games,
Yeah.
baseball games. Like
Yeah.
we
You
did
know what
whatever we did.
I was thinking about that shit the other day. Like with all that, I was like, how did nobody ever get hit with a ball? Like playing baseball. Never pitched with an L screen. Like we were just out there throwing to each other, fucking blasting it.
Like this
No,
backyard ball.
and no one ever got fucking hit.
Me and Heather were talking the other day too about how me and her used to come pick you and Brian up from the bowling alley in the friggin' Blazer,
Yeah.
and you would make us crank the goddamn music, and
Yeah.
you two would just sit back there and bounce the
fucking
whole
Blazer,
damn
bro.
thing.
Yeah. Rest in peace,
I hated
man.
that Blazer.
I fucking
Yeah,
love
rest
that
in
car.
peace. I hated it.
Bro, that fucker saw a lot of memories, man.
Yep, it did.
I don't think
It
I've
did.
ever
But
really
that's something that
had.
you just keep around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that. If that was still around, you know what I mean? I'd want to keep that thing forever.
Thank God it's not.
Yeah, like I want to give that to
Yeah.
my kids. That's gonna be my kid's first car. Is a fucking 2000 S10 Blazer Gold with a
Those
ZR2
poor
package
souls.
with the rear tire holder cut off the back because it's rusted out. Can't hold it
Yeah.
anymore. What is your favorite moment of the TKT podcast?
Oh God.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now. No. I feel like I don't have a favorite moment, but like I remember when I worked at MHA, I would just sit there and watch
Fuck is
you guys
MHA?
where I worked.
When?
Well, yeah. So I gathered that's where you
Before.
worked when you said that's where you worked. But what
Yeah,
does that
thanks.
stand for?
The Mental Health Association.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I remember that.
And I would just sit there and watch your fucking videos, and I would just laugh my ass off. But I would
Fucking
have to like
hilarious.
do it secretively because like
When
I
was
wasn't
that? Like in the
on my
beginning?
phone. Yeah.
Jesus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So this last question is, so we're supposed to have our guests leave a question for the next guest. We've gotten off that because we haven't had a guest in a while, so we forgot to ask Maddie. So we came up with a question format, and it's fucking fire, okay? Like, Travis, you're not even ready for this. It's really good.
Like
If there, listen. If there were any 5 people in the entire history of the human population, who would you want to have a round table discussion with, or even a smoke sesh? That's a good question, dude. It doesn't even have to be 5, like 2 or 3, like a round table session. Just all playing cards and you're just talking. Little smoke sesh, getting high, whatever you want. Having a glass of scotch, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, getting
Literally anything. You're just
plastered.
talking. You got no one? Not one person?
I have a few people written down.
Okay, so go ahead.
Abraham Lincoln,
Okay.
Let's guess.
right?
Paro would be proud. He was
What?
also on my list. Our Abraham Lincoln. Para is our old instructor advisor / program director, and she's a huge
She was an
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham entrepreneur.
Yeah, like bobbleheads and shit. Loves the guy. Anyways, who else?
I don't know.
You said you had a few people written down. You just said one
No, I
person.
only had him.
Oh, so you lied.
Well, I have
On the
William
podcast.
Shakespeare.
Why? Why either of them?
William. I don't know.
Okay. Travis, who
Like
do
I
you
don't
have?
have a specific reason.
Okay. You don't have to get upset.
I am.
Travis, who do you have?
Do they have to be living?
No, in the entire history of the world.
Oh, okay. George Washington. This is gonna be a weird group. Juice World.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone in the entire world.
Ever.
I would also say Willie Nelson.
That's a get. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Like,
I'd really like to kick it with Patrick Swayze.
Is he
That's a
alive?
good one too.
Oh.
I
No.
thought he died.
Yeah. Prince would be cool.
That was a weird one.
Yeah.
Don't support.
Nope.
No?
No, I'm not a fan of that answer.
I grew up listening to that through my mom.
I think the only Prince song I know is Purple Rain.
I don't know. I'll think of a fifth. You said 5.
So mine would be Kanye West.
Nope.
Yep.
Of course.
Abe Lincoln, because I feel like they wouldn't clash at all, given the circumstances. Damn, I literally just had like a ton lined up, and then you fucking. So Kanye, Abe Lincoln, probably like, damn, I can't think of his name now. Genghis Khan. He's probably got some wild stories. Achilles would be cool.
Who's that?
He was like a Trojan warrior.
Oh.
Oh.
It was like
Oh, okay. All right.
he
Yeah.
was a really cool historical guy. So that's 4. Let's think of someone else that's kind of recent in memory.
Yeah, I'm taking more time for mine. I'm taking off Prince. I panicked and chose
probably like either Chris Farley or
That's a good one.
Chris Farley, yes.
or Adam Sandler. One of those two.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Both, or both.
I'm gonna put Adam Sandler in there. Oh, I'm gonna do Jim Carrey instead of Prince.
That's a good one. He's changed a lot,
Because-
so that'd be you could get both sides.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's my boy.
My boy, Ray Stinkle. So to end the podcast, Hill, we need a question for you to leave for the next guest, which I'm going to announce now is Hillary's boyfriend Riley is coming on next week. So we'll have a similar background next week.
Oh no
Yeah.
shit.
Yep.
Yep.
Hi, I'm looking for Ray Finkel and a clean pair of shorts.
What's your
I
question?
have 2 questions, but I'm trying to pick one. Hang
You
on.
can give them both. I mean, you kind of
No,
have
I don't
authority in the
I don't
conversation.
want to do that to him. I don't want to do that to him.
Not yet, anyways.
Yeah, just pick one, bro.
You need me
What if
my emo.
what if anything is too serious to talk about?
Nothing.
You're
Are
not
you-
supposed to answer until
I
next
agree.
week.
Oh, so I thought you were asking me
Oh.
like.
No.
I thought you were
That's my
asking me as a
question.
pre-op, like, hey, can I ask him anything?
No, that's my question.
That's a good question.
I thought so.
I'm going to end the podcast on a question for the listeners is, at what point do you become old enough to think farts aren't funny? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the TKT podcast, the Two Kill Time
There's no
podcast,
age.
the favorite podcast of all podcasts on all podcast streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If you enjoyed this
All of them.
podcast, please leave a like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, as well as leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Hillary, thank you so much for coming on. We love you. It was a
Thanks
great
for
time
having me.
tonight.
Love you guys.
GG's, everybody, and we'll see you all in the next one.
GG's.